What's going on? It's another edition of Flobo Saw It on Netflix. There's that show we peruse the Netflix archives and talk about original series, original movies, and cool things of that nature. Does it have to be exclusive? Not necessarily, but I like exclusives because they're less likely to be delisted on the platform. I want to give a shout out to those people living in Qatar. You guys have made us top 10 over the recent weeks, and I appreciate each and every single one of the people all over the world making this show part of your podcast diet. I understand you have a lot of podcasts that you guys can listen to on the audio versions on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, Spreaker, Breaker, all that stuff. Spreaker, Stitcher, and all that stuff. Oh, you can hear me or see me on YouTube. So if you're on that YouTube channel, thank you so much for making this part of your digital content diet as well. And if you want more of this, you just can't stand just talking about movies, you want to see the perspective I have on comedy specials, Patreon subscribers get to have exclusive access to the bonus episodes of Flobo Saw It on Netflix. That's where we talk about comedy specials, where I break them down as a comedian myself. In fact, as I record this, we're going to unlock one of those specials this month on the YouTube channel, so get a little preview of what that looks like. All right, housekeeping's out the way. Today, I reviewed The Guilty, starring Jake Gyllenhaal on the Netflix platform. I want to start to you about how I arrived to the movie to begin with. If you notice, the past couple films on the Flobo Saw It on Netflix canon, on my algorithm, are more sci-fi, more genre stuff. But I heard that there is a tab, and I mentioned how some of these movies tend to be stretched out. But Netflix has a 90-minute movies, 90-minute comedy, 90-minute romantic comedy genre tab. This means you can actually put that in the search bar on your Netflix platform to look for 90-minute movies. And even though I love reviewing these films, I felt I, as a reviewer, was pretty much sounding like a broken record when I was saying, oh, this movie feels like it's too long. This movie feels like it takes forever. So I searched for a 90-minute movie. So I came across The Guilty, which is funny because the box art or the key art and the premise is very similar to another movie on Netflix, but this one's not original, called The Call with Halle Berry. But this one is a little different. So Jake Gyllenhaal is just an average guy with his own backstory, his own past, which is kind of a C plot, but kind of a D plot. But it's also the reason why it's called The Guilty. But he works as a 911 dispatch, and he takes calls as a jaded 911 dispatcher would be, which is kind of funny because my first cousin actually works for 911 dispatch, and he has that same kind of demeanor. It was like, all right, calm down. And it is not from a place of like not caring. It's kind of like going at your job and you can't be hype all the time because you're working 8 and 10-hour shifts. But they kind of seem that jaded, laid back of view or vibe of, okay, what do you need? How can I help you? Was kind of cool to watch. And of course, and much like these kind of films, we had a situation where someone has a incident that kind of spirals out of control. And that really what follows us in this film. Before I get to the inner details of the plot, what I liked, what I didn't like, just want to say here the reviews breaking down. IMDb uses a conservative of the two. I use 6.3 with Rotten Tomatoes saying 74%. Here's what's good. One, it is an actor's movie. The entirety of the film takes place at 911 dispatch with some B footage on screens and stuff. And there really is a chance for Jake Gyllenhaal to act his ass off, as they say. I go back to, I think I mentioned this show, the movie Faster, which came out in 2010 and starred Billy Bob Thornton. And the question was, yo, Billy Bob, why would you sign on to this movie? And Billy Bob said, with CGI and things like that, there's not many films where you could just act. And this is what Jake Gyllenhaal does. He's a dispatcher on the phone, dealing with his coworkers around him and the phone calls he's getting and rising tension. It really is just interacting with voices on the phone, kind of like the movie Phone Booth in that way, or Colin Farrell. Having that kind of project is something that would make any actor lick their chops, you know? What also works is the runtime. It is 93 minutes. So it's definitely something I saw between meetings today, during the day. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. It slots in perfectly. Kind of takes me back to the movie of the weeks, that era growing up where it was 2 hours with commercials. The movie was like an hour and change. So it's easy breezy cover girl. And also the twist. Even though the twist of the movie seemed obvious for me because I've heard the urban legend of what the screenplay was based off of, it comes with a nice little twist towards the end that kind of rewards you for sticking with it. Here's what didn't work for me. Even though there is majority of the work happening at the 911 call center, I for one would have loved to see things happening outside. I understand that's the whole point of this, to really have you feel the claustrophobia must be, or the helplessness a dispatcher must feel when there's a incident that really affects them. But I would love to see the scene where the friend goes to the house to investigate, or I'd love to see the car chase that's happening, or the tracking down of the vehicle. And also, I kind of wanted more. I kind of wanted a longer runtime. The runtime was great. That's why I downloaded it. I think it could have been a 2-hour movie had they really took those extra elements and gave us a little bit of his life beforehand. Jake Gyllenhaal's character of Joe Baylor, the supporting cast, and some scenes outside of the dispatch. So that was quite a kind of stand on that one. 6.3 from IMDb. Rotten Tomatoes saying 74%. I'm saying it's a solid 7. Give it a try. It's called The Guilty. Came out last year, 2021, directed by Antoine Fuqua. That is it for me on this edition of Flobo Star on Netflix. If this is a movie or TV show you want me to check out, please do. And of course, be back next time with more movies, more TV shows, more originals to talk about.